All right, now we're on to part two. So in part one, I discussed my review of an article that was titled, let me look this up here to make sure I'm quoting it exactly. It was titled, Motivating Students to Behave in Socially Competent Ways. And I touched on some very important things. Number one point being that parents, students, and teachers seem to all be on the same page as far as goals that they have for the children reaching social competence. At least most of the students are on page with the parents and the teachers. We have yet to discuss exactly what that should look like or how we should go about achieving that. We'll get to that later. Another point that was made is there's a direct parallel between students who have really clearly stated and identified goals that match with the goals of the teacher, and there's some academic competence. So we see a parallel between social competence and academic competence, and that's something that's very interesting, I think, and probably not so surprising, but very important to note. So now I'm going to continue on because I am now at a point where I am going to read the rest of the review, and there's a part that really, for lack of a better word, ticks me off. So it takes a lot to really make me upset, but listen to this. All right. I greatly disagree with the author of this article on one thing. Wenzel believes that students raised in non-majority cultures or communities are likely to experience a more diverse set of goals, she says, and expectations than those that are espoused by their school. She goes on to state that it's reasonable to expect that socially incompetent behavior or low levels of engagement of these students might reflect in part the negative motivational effects of these competing and congruent goals across family, peer, and classroom contexts. I just was a little taken aback by that. And there's a lot more that she goes on and on and on to discuss explaining this further. I'm not one to have a chip on my shoulder, but this was one that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I wrote in here, as an African American, I must say for the record that you are a product of your environment. You are not a product of your race. I made that very clear. I go on to say that I was raised in an environment where education was respected, celebrated, and expected. On the contrary, I've known of plenty students who have had complete disregard for education, and they are of the majority culture. So I'm saying that not to put down those people, but to make the point that ethnicity is less of a factor, in my opinion, of a child's academic and social success than that child's environment. I really strongly believe that. But I go on to say it's not even that simple. And I go on to explain that by saying there have been countless success stories of people who have overcome the obstacles set before them due to their environment and have gone on to achieve great things in life. So I think it does a great disservice to our youth to put our students in boxes and as a result unfairly raise or lower our expectations of those students. You can't judge. You cannot judge one bit. It's not such an easy black-white issue, no pun intended. You really have to get to know that student, and I believe that all students can achieve academically and socially if placed in the right environment. And if they're not placed in the right environment at home or in their neighborhood, guess what? In your classroom, that can be the right environment for them to learn and grow and become socially competent young men and women. No excuses, my friends. You as the teacher, like I said, may be the only positive role model in their lives. But that doesn't mean that, first of all, you put a lot of pressure on yourself. Just be you. But it also doesn't mean that you just give up on that child. Take it on as a challenge and realize that that's what makes education and educators such an integral part of our society, and we hold the key to their success. So, perhaps the greatest tool in helping students achieve social competence is their emotional environment. Even Wenzel herself mentions that all-important fact that children are more likely to adopt and internalize, that's the key, internalize goals that are valued by others when their relationships are, two key words here, nurturant and supportive. And we see evidence of this accomplishment whenever goals and socially desirable outcomes have been internalized. Intrinsic motivation, my friends. You gotta make them believe in it. You've gotta make them believe in themselves, and they will meet those expectations. So, first, parents, teachers, and peers can model socially positive behaviors and have socially positive interactions with children. Here I'm getting to some of the steps. In this way, parents, teachers, and peers serve as valuable resources for our youth. More specifically, a teacher's role is simple, yet critical to students mastering positive social behaviors. First of all, teachers must create a classroom environment in which teachers enforce rules consistently, keyword, communicate expectations for self-reliance and self-control, solicit children's opinions and feelings, have value in those things, people, and provide positive expressions of warmth and approval. In addition, a teacher must also provide cooperative learning opportunities for students so that they have the golden opportunity to model and hold each other accountable to certain standards of conduct. They can be the best teachers in the classroom, those students, for the other students who maybe aren't quite where they need to be. Keep that in mind, friends. You are not the only teacher in the classroom. This article provides great support for teachers to have classroom incentives and programs, such as the, guess what, Fill a Bucket concept for their classrooms. Activities such as Fill a Bucket provide students an opportunity to see positive social behaviors modeled by their teacher. It also provides students with the ability to identify positive social behaviors with each other and promote pro-social behaviors. In addition, Fill a Bucket creates a very nurturing and supportive environment where students can excel both academically and socially. Because remember, my friends, classroom management is the key. You cannot educate students in a classroom that is not safe and is negative. It is essential that programs like these be as strong, let me back it up. It is essential that programs like these be as strong of a presence in the classroom as academic subject areas in order for our students to be the best person they can be. The days of just reading, writing, and arithmetic, it's over. You now may have to be nurse, counselor, you name it. And that is the situation we have been dealt in this society, in this day and age. So, my friends, my fellow educators, my bucket fillers, keep that in mind. And also keep in mind that you have the power to turn a child's life around and forever be the bucket filler that teaches them how to fill buckets. That's it. Have a wonderful, wonderful bucket fill.